This is going to be part one of a series of stories. They're going to be encounters that I've had throughout my, years. Encounters, magical encounters I would call them. Magical encounters that led me towards some kind of transformation. That process never changes, but one would hope that the little pieces of the puzzle kind of fit together like a tapestry of life, and that eventually we get a better understanding of ourselves and the world. I'll tell you this one story that changed a lot of things for me. I'm going to tell you this story about an airplane experience. This was 1992. I was coming back from India, and I just lost my first husband to cancer, and I spent 3 wonderful weeks in India, met some wonderful people, and I didn't get sick once. And that's pretty unusual to not get sick in India after a period of 3 weeks. So the day before I was leaving India, I stayed at this ashram in Bombay, and I ate this food and was terribly ill about 2 o'clock in the morning. And there was 3 or 4 other women who were staying with me at the ashram of Satya Sai Baba. We were staying at the Dhammakshetra ashram, and they left at about midnight to go to the airport to get their flights to Scandinavia. And I was getting up around 4 or 5 to get my flight to the United States. Well, I woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was so sick. I don't think I'd ever felt that sick in my life, and I was vomiting profusely. I couldn't even make it to the bathroom, and the door was locked, and I was banging on the windows because the folks from the Dhammakshetra had locked us in for our own protection because there was some shooting going on outside the windows, and no one came to the door, no one came to the window, and I really thought I was going to die. I made it to the airport with a taxi about 5 o'clock in the morning, and I barely made it on the plane. I didn't know how I was going to make it all the way back to the United States, and I just slept, and I slept, and I was going on the Saudi Arabian airline, Gulf Air, and I went through all the airports, several in Saudi Arabia, and I slept on the floor. I didn't even know how I got on the flight. I finally got on the flight to London, and from London to Atlanta, and I sat there and I'm thinking, oh yes, there's 2 free seats next to me. And suddenly this lady sat down in the seat right next to me, and she started drinking gin and tonics, and followed by wine, and she was drinking and eating and reading the tabloids, and I looked at her and I felt so sick. I said to her, please, could you move so I can lie down? There's some other empty seats. And she said to me, you haven't paid for these seats. You haven't paid for these seats. I will be here. And then I thought, oh, how am I going to sit here? How am I going to sit here for this long, for this many hours? And then suddenly I heard this voice, and the voice said to me, send her love. I'm like, love? I hate this woman. I don't love this woman. I hate this woman. And the voice again said, send her love. So I imagined this white light going towards her, not from me, but from beyond me, from God. And suddenly she started fidgeting and moving, and she got up and walked to the back of the plane, and I thought she was going back there to have a cigarette. And a few moments later she came back, and she had this vegetarian patty in her hand. At that time, I was vegetarian, and she said, here, this is for you. And her whole demeanor had changed, and she said, I'm so very sorry. I'm so very sorry. I will move now. And I immediately fell asleep for the next 6 hours, and when I awoke in Atlanta, I felt completely cleansed and fine. And I realized, and I still haven't got that lesson, when somebody is showing you that much anger, that much hate, you still must return love to them. And that is a lesson of forgiveness that I still, day after day, month after month, work with. Namaste.